Got a motion.
Your Honor, just for the record, based on your rulings over and the issue regarding notice, I looked at the criminal rules. One of the options in the criminal rules, if notice is an issue, is a continuance of the trial so the Commonwealth would have time to look over the experts and have proper hearings and do that. So in order to preserve the issue of Dr. Fabian's testimony, I would ask the court to consider a continuing the trial for a short period of time in order for them to look over the CV and look over the reports, and then we can continue on after that. So I would make a motion to continue.
We would object to any continuance based upon that. First of all, our objection to the original request to speak about what he was requesting was had multiple problems, only one of which was notice. The second was that we don't believe that it's proper for the guilt phase based upon, one, it wasn't a confession, there was no police involvement, and this is the most, to me, compelling argument is that when later faced with actual police conduct, he denied involvement in the murder. Furthermore, I think it will be prejudicial to the jury. I think that to this point is not merited and would be a disservice and should be overruled.
And not to mention that be prejudicial to the defense. I'm not speaking for you, but as you said, it's one of the options.
And I was just reading some case law on how to make preserved issues, and I just don't want to miss this issue as unpreserved because I didn't ask for it. So
It's preserved and it's overruled. Okay, all right, so let's get a move on, yeah. How long is your cross?
Two or three questions.
All right, okay. All right, Doctor, you're still under oath. We're going to do. They're going to have some cross examination and then move on. Okay, sweet.
Yes, Your Honor. Sir, could you tell me, have you ever heard of DSM-5?
I have.
What is that?
Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, published by the American Psychiatric Association in about 2013.
Okay, is that considered the national standard today?
Yeah.
Okay. And was one of the significant changes from preceding versions or what have you, change from mental retardation to intellectual disability?
Yes.
Okay. So any time today that you may have stated mental retardation under the DSM-5, which is current, that would be intellectual disability. Is that correct?
I would agree, yes.
Okay. Under DSM-5, intellectual disability, are there various levels of intellectual disability? Is it just all-encompassing? Either you have that or you don't, or is there various severities?
Various severities: mild, moderate, severe, and profound.
Okay, so four?
Yeah.
Four levels, okay.
He would be in the mild.
He would be mild, he being Shelby Shell?
Yes.
So every time today when you stated intellectual disability, would it be correct to insert the word mild in front of that?
Yes.
Okay. Last question, or last series of questions. Were you or will you be paid by the defense to testify here today?
Yes.
Okay. Are you aware of what your final bill for that will be?
Objection.
Mr. Grounds.
Anything about payment is generally just not.
You can
relevant.
ask him if he's compensated. I think she asked him before.
She asked him before, but then we had a whole slew of questioning under a separate.
You can
we had
ask him if he's
cessation.
compensated and
Okay.
leave it at that instead
Okay.
of specific.
Well, I think I have. You stated that you were paid by the defense to be here today. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. That's it, Your Honor.
Okay. Is that it?
What do you want? One follow-up question. There are varying degrees of intellectual disability. Does the mild mental disability or mild intellectual disability label in any way change the content or the context of your testimony today?
Oh, no, not at all. I mean, 85% of those with intellectual disability are mild, which really necessitates that they have an IQ of 70 or below, and they're quite impaired.
So So all the impairments that you discussed in speaking earlier apply to Shelby Shell, and in fact apply to about 85% of people with intellectual disability in that mild category.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else?
No, Your Honor.
Dr. Fagan, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Is this, I don't know if he'll be coming back or not.
We'll ask to release the witness subject to recall by Skype.
Subject to recall, doctor, just in case.
We'll take that back.
I don't want, I'm trying to work out some planning here, because I don't want to put anyone under any unnecessary stress or strain in this thing. Defendant has a right to a fair trial. We're a guest in this courtroom, and I'm informed that they really do need it Friday and Monday. And I'm sitting here thinking that it's about the possibility, if we start going over a recess until next week sometime. I know that's no, it's not out of the ordinary. It can be done, and give the jury a break. And I don't think that I'm considering that your input would be fine. I don't think that they'll be out over the weekend anyway. I don't think that kind of recess would necessarily would harm the jurors' memory of what they've heard so far.
Certainly, there's some things that we had trouble hearing that there's a really good possibility the jury in deliberations may ask to re-listen to, like Dr. Rolfe or the phone call. So
Well, if they want to listen to anything, they'll have to come back into court.
Right.
They'll have to come back into court and listen to it.
Do you want us to try to aim for closing argument on Thursday, or do
Well,
you want to close
listen,
and wait?
let's I don't want to go through closing arguments in recess, certainly, but I'm thinking if we get to the point where, I'm not sure what we do.
Your Honor, if I may, we have several times had issues with courts wherein once the jury is deliberating, they're out of this room.
True.
And they're in the jury room, and then only brief entry back into the courtroom is a necessary thing, which oftentimes courts can accommodate fairly easily for us to come back in and do what must be done. I assume we're going to continue to call witnesses today, and then we have all day tomorrow before we make any decision on any of this. Hopefully we get a lot done tomorrow.
Are you suggesting that it might go to the jury tomorrow evening?
I think so.
I hope it does. I mean, all due respect,
Well, let's see where we are, and I'm going to talk to Judge Costanzo. He's been so generous in allowing us to be here, but we are, but I want everyone to get their say at the same time, and so anyway, those are I'm trying to think this through, and I want everyone to be mindful of where we might have to go with some of this. All right, okay, or how we might have to proceed going forward.
How late can we go tonight, Judge? Gunner, how late can we go tonight?
As late as you want, as late as necessary. As long as we got a witness out there, we'll
They
keep
indicate
going.
there's some witnesses who are local witnesses that they don't have to subpoena. That we're going to come to their call. So the Commonwealth's, go as long as the court thinks the jury can stand it.
Yeah, we've got two witnesses that were recognized on Monday for today. So we've got John Paul Madden and Pam Rayston. And then we've got a couple more Maddens that are on deck.
Let's get going
And
then.
then we have Ava Crow, who is the special education expert, and I don't know if the Commonwealth's going to have the same objections to her. So
Is that a mitigation
I was gonna use her in the guilt facts portion of the trial.
Again, I don't see where
Again,
that,
talking about intellectual disability and the interaction with false confession. But if we wanna put all of her special education, report in the mitigation phase, like, I just have to say that I planned to use it in this part of the trial, and she is going to Colorado on Saturday, so she will not be available for a couple weeks or a week.
Again, we have no objection to the mitigation in the penalty phase, but we renew for that our objection for the guilt phase.
when's she coming back from Colorado?
I think the 23rd was the original, that may have moved, because she was actually gonna leave today, but switched it back.
If we brought, is she ready for testimony today?
She's ready, she could also be here tomorrow if you wanna get
Tomorrow?
4 witnesses tonight and then have her at some point tomorrow.
Is it testimony or is there a report you could stipulate and read into evidence or anything like that?
There is a report.
If you think to be
And
taught, look at
might
that
able-
and see if that's a possibility. I don't want to cramp your, evidence, but if that's a possibility, then maybe something can be done. But anyway, let's get along. Let's go on with your other witnesses now that you have here now, and move along with them. We do have to bring the jury in, yeah.
Yeah, we do have to make that.
Okay. John?
This is
All right, folks, anything to report? Okay, all right. Have a seat, everybody. And call your next witness.
The defense calls John Paul Madden.
John Paul Madden.
Yes, Your Honor.
I think we need to go get into downstairs.
Mr. Madden here.
He is, I believe he was, I don't know.
Downstairs, I can go check.
He was downstairs and they were trying to have
That's
him.
somebody to go get him.
He's been here this morning, so. sorry, just.
Grandpa said he's on his way, but we have Pam here, so we're going to call him.
Would the court indulge a substitution while Mr. Madden apparently is on his way?
You got another witness?
We'll call Pamela Raystid on.
Calling who?
He's on the elevator? Did you use him first? Yeah, we'll use him first. Sorry, Chris.
We've got other people. I thought that was.
All right, sir, are you John Paul Madden? Would you raise your right hand, please? Mr. Madden, do you swear or affirm that any testimony you give in this trial will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right, have a seat over here. Speak loudly and clearly into that microphone so everybody can hear you.
A little bit hard to hear you.
Well,
Hear the best.
we got earphones over here.
Okay.
Get him a set of earphones. Are you going to do the questioning, Ms. Karen?
Yeah.
All right. I want to see if he can hear you once he gets these earphones on.
That makes it louder on the front, on top there. You can adjust it back and forth to get it louder where you need to.
Okay.
Can you roll it back and forth? It's kind of
Would you
making a
speak
noise.
up, Ms. Karen, see if you can hear?
Like, test? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Can you all hear me? That's been a bigger issue. Could you state your name for the court and maybe spell your last name for the clerk?
My name is John Paul Madden. Last name Madden.
And Mr. Madden, what's your relationship to Ernie and Shelby Shell?
I'm his uncle.
Okay. Uncle to both of them?
Correct.
And how long have you known Ernie Shell?
Since he was born.
Okay. And is Ernie somebody you know to be dishonest?
Correct. Yes, he is.
Okay. Have you known Ernie to be involved romantically with men?
Correct.
Have you seen video of Ernie with a man?
I've not seen video. I've seen messages online.
Check.
We can strike that question because apparently I
Yeah,
asked the wrong
just
one.
ignore the question and answer, please.
Have you ever seen Jimbo and Ernie kissing?
Correct. Yes.
And where did you see that?
His mother lives above me, and you got to come by my house to get in her driveway. And then my driveway is probably it's about 25 foot from my window and my door, and that's where I seen it.
Okay. So you saw Jimbo and Ernie kissing in your driveway.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
And how did you recognize Jimbo and Ernie?
Well, he got out of the car to get stuff out of the trunk, and he got back in the car, and Ernie got back in the car with him. Then I seen them kiss. Then Ernie got out and went in the house, and he left.
And how are you familiar with Jimbo?
I don't know him.
Okay. So how did you recognize him in your
I just
driveway?
know him by Ernie, you know. But
Okay.
I don't know him.
Has Ernie ever told you he was going to make a movie about this case?
Yes, he has.
Has he ever stolen from you or another family member?
Yes, my mother and I.
Has he ever tried to harm you or your mother?
He's not. Well, we fit, but he has my mother, but he hasn't me. I protect up for myself.
You feel you're able to protect yourself from Ernie.
Yes, I can.
But he has tried to harm your mother before,
Yes.
and you were a witness, you saw that with your
Yes.
own eyes. Have you known Ernie to set up Shelby in the past?
Yes. Multiple times.
Can you describe just any
He's
examples?
just, all their life, he's been jealous of him. And he's got him in trouble different times. He's had me arrested multiple times. He's just, Ernie's a legend in his own mind.
Let's see. I think it's probably a fair question. Do you love Shelby and Ernie?
Yes, I love Shelby.
Maybe not so much Ernie?
No, it's not he's done my mother the way he has, no.
Those are all the questions I have for you, but the Commonwealth may have some questions.
All right, Cross.
All right, first that we approach,
Yes, you may.
Well, let me go back to this.
Yeah. We are going to ask this gentleman if he's a convicted felon. We just wanted to give you a chance to judge. We asked that.
Okay.
Hope he answers truthfully.
If he answers yes, as I understand the rules, he answers yes, you're stuck with his answer.
If he answers no, we can impeach you. We cannot get into what felony unless he says no, then we can bring the whole thing up.
All right.
Mr. Madden, where do you live?
Black Mountain,
Where is that?
it's about 4 miles above Everett. It's called 31 Camp.
And who do you live with?
Live with Selena Blevins.
Do you know Edith Madden,
She's my mother.
your mother, Edith Madden?
Yes.
Have you ever lived with her?
Yeah, I've stayed with her and helped her when my brother went living with her. I took care of her.
Did you live with her back in 1984, 1985?
I'd say so. I don't recall that long ago.
And you lived in that home?
Well, yes, at that time I'd have been like 10-year-old. I'd say it was.
And did your mother have custody of Shelby Shell?
Yes.
Did she have custody of Shelby Shell a lot? Legal custody?
Yes, she raised all of them, all of my sister's kids.
So, you're saying your mother raised Shelby Shell and Ernie?
Well, she adopted them. I don't know exactly how long she had custody of them, but she done what she could with them, and I don't know how many years that was.
Okay. Now, you said a while ago that you don't love Ernie.
Well, it ain't that I don't love him. I just feel kind of hard at him on the way he's done my mother.
Well, I think you said also that he had you arrested.
Yeah, he has.
Could you tell us about that?
Well,
I object. We had this.
Can we approach? If you give me a moment, Your Honor, we'll clarify.
What's the basis of your objection?
Well, they discussed that stuff about the convicted felon. I thought we weren't going into details. We were just
We just asked him if he had him arrested.
He said that's
And
what
I
he
thought I'd
testified
said-
to.
He already said so earlier, I thought.
He testified to that.
Yeah,
He just said it.
He testified that.
I mean, he's not on trial, but
No,
I
that's- I
just
know,
like
I
that
know.
sort limited.
Well, yeah,
Is it
but,
about
you know,
20 years?
But
What arrest are you gonna
Well, we
talk
don't know.
about?
We don't know yet.
He said he
We
was-
didn't. You didn't give us notice of him. We don't know about him. We don't know his record. Well, if let
All
me
right,
finish,
all right,
we don't
cool.
know what his background is, but he said that he does not like Ernie, that he loves Shelby, and that Ernie's had him arrested.
That Ernie had him arrested.
What for?
goes to bias. Let's go. Let's go on. All right, go ahead.
Okay, so Ernie, you testified earlier that Ernie had you arrested. I just asked you,
Correct.
what was that about?
Well, about the way he's done my mother, and he stole from me, and,
I mean, you said he had you arrested.
well, he has. He had me arrested for fighting him. He's got EPOs on me because, I jumped on him because he stole my stuff, and he was mean to my mother, and I'm sure you would do the same with your mother.
Are you a convicted felon?
No, sir.
Just a minute, Your Honor.
Okay.
That's all the questions I have.
Your Honor, I would just ask for an admonition that he's not a convicted felon, and maybe we could just strike that question.
You said no.
Okay. I think asking.
He was asked, was he a convicted felon?
Yeah,
And he said no. But
That's fine.
he testified
Right.
on direct that he had been arrested several times.
Yeah, but I'm not.
All right, okay. Any redirect?
Actually, no redirect after that.
All right, is this witness excused?
He's subject to recall.
All right, so you're subject to recall, so you may sit down, but hang around.
We would ask that he be excused for the day. Let me correct that. We might recall him.
You're excused for the day, but be back tomorrow. Okay, call your next witness.
Defense calls Pam Stidham.
Pam who?
Stidham?
Stidham?
Yes. Just for the, I'll ask her to spell that out for me.
Huh?
I'll ask her to spell her last name for the record with me.
I think I can spell it. All right. All right, are you Pam Stidham?
Yes.
All right, ma'am, would you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear or affirm that any testimony given in this trial will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
All right, have a seat over here. Speak loudly and clearly into that, I guess there's a microphone right there, right? Yeah, on the mic in front of you so everybody can hear what you're saying. All right, Mr. Cameron, go ahead.
Okay. Could you state your name for the record?
Pamela Sue Stidham,
Okay. And can you spell your last name for the clerk?
Stidham,
And Ms. Stidham, where do you live?
Keavy, Kentucky.
Okay. And did you live there in 2013?
Yes,
Are you familiar with Ernie Shell?
yes.
And how are you familiar with him?
I worked with him at Spur Oil.
Okay. Were you ever in a relationship with Ernie Shell?
No, he stayed with me though. He lived with me for about 6 months.
Did you know Ernie Shell to be someone who was truthful or untruthful?
Untruthful.
And can you describe generally his state of truthfulness?
He lies about who he is. He has made threats towards me, towards my whole family.
Did he at one time keep some of his personal items at your home?
He did.
Did he keep a laptop at your home?
Yes.
Did he shoot up that laptop in your backyard?
It was not in my backyard, it was down the road.
And did you bring that laptop to the defense investigation team at some point?
Yes, I did.
Had he attempted to make fake IDs?
Not that I'm aware of. He made fake Facebook accounts though, pretending to be other people.
Did you at one time fear for your life because of your information?
May we approach?
No, okay. I am going to ask you a question.
It's my understanding this is direct examination, and she's asked a whole lot of leading questions, and we've been pretty patient about it. But
We were very patient with you,
Well,
but you
you're-
two, I will try to ask them.
Yeah,
more
you're
openly.
leading. You are leading.
That's fair.
Sustained.
And we're back. Okay. What I would like to do you remember leaving a Post-it note in your home?
Yes.
It's hard to ask that in a normal way, but do you remember what the contents of that Post-it note were?
That something happened to me, that Ernie was behind it.
Okay.
Could you speak up a little? I'm having trouble hearing myself.
I said I wrote on the Post-it note that if anything happened to me, Ernie Shell was behind it.
I'm going to present this to you just to help you refresh your recollection, if that's okay.
About what?
About the Post-it.
Got it.
She just testified what was on.
Okay. Well then, let me do that differently.
There's nothing to refresh.
You don't have to refresh because you remember. I guess what I would ask is if I have a photo of that Post-it, and you're probably going to object, so maybe we should approach. Could you verify its contents and authenticate the photo?
Yes.
Y'all may we approach?
See what it
So
says.
she testified to it. That's the first time they'll have heard of it because it's not.
we haven't seen it. We haven't seen it. We don't know what it's about.
We had to
But
wait
it sure
until Ernie
sounds.
said days
Just a minute,
to
just a minute.
be able to reach out.
One, it didn't occur. Two, it's speculation.
Speculation.
If something happens, Ernie did it to me. Well, nothing ever happened. And two, how can you know beforehand who did it? It's completely ludicrous as evidence. It does not deserve the weight of evidence in a court of law.
You know, their witnesses have testified about the 9 people that Shelby Show was gonna kill, but didn't.
No,
And this
I take that
witness-
back. The testimony, if you'll be specific, the testimony was that your client, Shelby Shell, said he killed. Said he killed.
No, it said he wanted to kill Mr. Johnson, Mr. Otis. It listed people.
Okay.
But
But
what
I
I'm
mean,
saying is,
what's
this is
the
for
relevance to this?
impeachment purposes.
Where
It
we
goes towards
going?
the bias of Ernie Shell.
Ask her if she was afraid of him. That's all. That's all. But I mean, this kind of stuff
Can I
is
put
just a
this
little
in
too far. I mean,
by avowal then?
hmm?
I just want to put in the record by avowal if you're not going to allow us to enter it as an exhibit.
It's defendant's exhibit 2 by avowal.
Can we get a statement that we're not going to refer to that then?
Yeah, you're not going to refer to this.
I understand.
2 by avowal.
I don't want to speak for you, but did you essentially say that you were afraid of Ernie Shell?
Yes.
Okay. And you left that in writing in your home in
Yes.
case somebody needed to know later. You also left a Mountain Dew can in your home?
There was one beside the bed where he had been drinking out of it.
And why'd you do that?
Because it would have fingerprints on it where he would say it to prove that he was in my house
Okay.
at one
And
point or the other.
has he ever threatened you?
Yes.
Can you describe one of the times he's threatened you?
He put a pillow to my head and a gun.
And I don't know what else to add to that. I think the Commonwealth may have cross-examination questions for
No questions, Your Honor.
Okay, is this witness excused?
you. Yes, Your Honor.
Is she subject to recall?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Ma'am, you're excused. You may go.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Okay. Call your next witness.
The defense calls it Amber Madden.
Amber who?
Madden?
Amber?
Amber
Yes.
Madden.
Amber Madden. All right. Ms. Madden, would you raise your right hand, please? You swear or affirm the testimony you give be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right. Have a seat, Ms. Madden, and please speak up loudly and clearly into that microphone in front of you so we all hear you. All right, Ms. Karen.
Could you state your name just for the jury?
Amber Madden.
Okay. And this is upsetting for you? Is this upsetting for you?
I'm sick.
Okay.
I can't hardly talk.
We thought you were crying when you came in. Hopefully just have a few questions. So, how are you related, or do you know Ernie Shell?
He's my brother.
Okay, and how do you know Shelby Shell?
He's my brother.
Can you all hear? All right.
Okay. So you've known Ernie your whole life?
Yes.
And what is his reputation for truthfulness in your community?
Oh, very poor. Very
Can-
bad.
Feel free to give me an example.
Oh Lord, he's went from being bounty hunters to fugitive recovery agents to investigators to all kinds of stuff. That he's never did.
To your knowledge, is Ernie a man who has sex with other men?
Yes.
Have you ever witnessed one of those sex acts?
He was staying at my house for a while and he was on speakerphone in a room beside of my room talking to another guy about sexual relations for money.
Would he ever use the term, would he have asked someone, I have trouble saying this, but would he have asked someone to suck his dick?
Yeah.
Has he ever had
Your
that?
Honor, our objection about leaving
Object to what?
and the speculate.
That's not speculative, that's what you heard. That's presence and suppression.
The leading and speculation.
What was it? Well, anyway, what was the
She
first?
said, would he ever?
Oh,
And
sustained,
she says-
sustained.
Rather
Yeah.
than would he ever.
Disregard the question.
Has Ernie ever had a sexual conversation in your presence?
Yes.
And what was the content of that conversation?
He needed money for his car. He couldn't pay. He just had bought a car. He couldn't pay the insurance. He couldn't pay his phone bill. He needed money. He was on the phone with another guy, and the guy asked him to do stuff, pretty much for money.
Has he ever had a conversation like that with Jimbo or James Collins?
Objection.
Well, we're talking hearsay.
Well,
How is this not?
if she was present, and heard a conversation of that nature,
On the phone?
Specifically to
Huh?
impeach prior testimony.
hmm?
Specifically to impeach prior testimony, because
Well,
Ernie
now, wait a
Shell
minute, hearsay
testified
it doesn't make hearsay admissible.
It would
But
be-
you can't go into the content.
Right.
And
So
she
we're
said
not
it was on the,
saying that-
I understood it was, she said on the phone. Have you
It's
heard
not-
him talk to somebody on the
For the
phone?
I know
truth of what he's saying, we're not saying that.
If she was
he's gonna
present
go-
when both of them were there,
Right.
she could say, she could talk about the nature, but not the content.
Okay, we'll see the nature.
When you say both of them were there. you're
Both
not
in
referring-
both are present.
Okay.
Not on the phone.
Not on
Can
the
you
phone.
clarify
Not on
if
the
it was
phone.
Okay.
Because you don't know what
You
somebody's.
recognize your voice on the phone while you're there. That's the whole conversation.
And I'm basing it on the fact.
Okay, we will get back
That's all, the fact of the conversation.
to stuff. Without going into details, have you been present when Ernie had a conversation about a sexual relationship with a man?
Yes.
Without going into details, have you been present when Jimbo had a conversation about a sexual relationship with a man?
Yes.
Are you afraid of Ernie?
Ernie's skittish, like, yeah.
What was your answer, man?
Huh?
She asked you if you were afraid of Arnie. What was your answer?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Are you afraid of Shelby?
No.
Has Ernie ever threatened you?
No.
What was the answer?
Could
No,
you
I
repeat?
think
No.
No, was the answer.
Have you ever been in the presence of Ernie when he was going to a mental health appointment or psych ward?
Repeat that.
Have you ever been in the presence or around, did you help transport, did you go with Ernie when he was going to a mental health appointment or the psych ward?
Yes.
And can you tell me when that was or about when that was?
Yeah. I was young, so it was when he was younger. Years ago, I don't know exactly. I can't tell you an exact time, no.
That's fine. Had Ernie ever spoken about, in your presence, wanting to make a movie or write a book about the murder of Mr. King?
Yes.
Those are all the questions that I have for you. The Commonwealth may have some additional questions.
Cross.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Madden, your last name's Madden, and you said you're related to Ernie and to Shelby.
Yes.
How's that?
They're my brothers.
Their last name's Shell. So could you explain how your brother and sister?
Because we share the same mother.
Okay.
Possibly
How are you
father.
related to John Paul Madden, I guess, who testified earlier? Who is he your uncle?
He's my uncle, yes.
How, John Paul Madden?
He's my uncle.
Where do you live?
Hazard.
Hazard. When you testified that you were with Ernie when he went to a psychological evaluation or something, how many years ago was that? You said you were kids?
Yeah, Ernie was a teenager when he went.
Well, how old were you?
Ernie's only like 4 years older than me.
So, I can't put words in your mouth. I can only ask
I don't
questions.
understand what you're getting at.
How old
I have
were
been
you?
with Ernie.
How old were you?
No, he just asked
I don't
you
know
how
how old
were
I
you when
was.
he-
That was years ago. I can't tell you an exact time for how old I was.
Okay,
That's all, Your Honor.
okay, all right. Is that all for this witness? Any
Just
more
a couple
reasons?
more questions,
All right.
I'm sorry.
It's all right.
Do you recall hearing about the murder of Mr. King?
Yeah.
Like when it happened?
Did Ernie talk to you about any details of the
Yeah,
murder?
Ernie said all kinds of stuff that happened.
Actually, yeah, hold on, let's see, sorry. Did Shelby, or, I'm sorry, do you recall having a conversation with Ernie about the investigation of the King murder?
What do you mean?
Well-
Ernie told me all kinds of stuff that was supposed to have happened. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, basically. Do you remember what he said?
Oh yeah, very clear.
Do you remember him talking about fingerprints in any way?
He said there was a fingerprint on a mini blind or something, and he kept saying that the mini blind was like a cigarette cellophane, the same material, whatnot, and said there was a fingerprint on a mini blind.
Did he make any statements about Shelby's cell phone?
He told me that Shelby's cell phone was pinged at in Everett, somewhere around the gas station or something.
Did he give an alibi for himself? Did you talk about
Ernie? I don't really know. I don't remember.
If you don't remember, is it fair to say you don't remember or you don't know?
I don't know.
Do you remember recording a conversation with Ernie?
Yeah.
If I let you review some notes from that conversation, would you remember better?
Oh, I can probably remember very clear without seeing them, but you can bring them up here.
What'd you say, man?
I said I could probably remember very clear without seeing them, but she can bring them up here.
I'd just like permission to refresh your
Well, she didn't,
recollection.
she said she could remember.
Yep, so maybe we'll just stop there. Did Ernie talk about how Mr. King was killed?
Yeah.
And what did he tell you?
He tried to tell me on different occasions, but everything was the same every time he told me. Like, I would never listen to him. I'd push him off. Like, I don't want to hear it. That's my brother. I don't want to hear it. Don't want nothing to do with it. Leave me alone. Shut up. Well, it got to the point where he literally held me down in the bed, shaking me, telling me, look, this is what happened. He said that his bird was cut off, put in his mouth, duct taped, his eyes were on forks. Something about a 4-foot water hose with barbed wire wrapped around it, stuck up in all kinds of crap.
That's all the questions I have.
Any recall?
Yes, sir, thank you. Yeah, it's embarrassing to talk that stuff, but as I understand it, when Ernie's telling you these things, are those things that he thinks that Shelby did to Mr. King? And you didn't want to hear it because of your affection and love for Shelby because he's your brother.
They're both my brothers.
But
I
you-
love both my brothers the same. I mean,
Well, but one of them's charged with murder and the other one's not.
well, I didn't want to hear that. I
What do you
didn't want
mean you
nothing to
didn't
do
wanna
with
hear
it.
it?
I didn't want to hear any of that.
About what?
Him going into detail, literally telling me all that.
When was that he went into detail and would tell you this? Was this like
On several
the day after the
occasions.
murder? Let me finish my question. Was this the day after the murder, a month after, or 6 months?
No, the first time was probably a week after, and it was on the phone.
Was this after Shelby was arrested?
Yes.
So he never had any conversation with you about this murder until after Shelby was already arrested. Isn't that true?
Right.
That's all, Your Honor.
Okay, anything else?
No, we just asked that she be
Is it-
excused for today.
This witness be excused?
Yeah, sure.
All right. You're free to go, man. Thank you. Okay.
May we approach, Your Honor?
Yes, you may.